practicing to be grounded and in my body, but I also find my...
Don't do that. What happens? Do you fly off?
Yeah. I go off into the future or into the past and get stuck on those things.
It's funny because almost everything we speak about is to get you to stop grounding.
Exactly.
Stop attaching to what's physical. Stop manipulating and think more in terms of the vibration. So is it all right if we ask you what you mean by grounding and what its purpose is?
So grounding by being present in my body, being present in the moment. That's what I mean by grounding, like being connected to, the vibration of Mother Earth and things like that. But I do find myself daydreaming a lot, or when I want something, focusing on my desires that might be in the future.
You're not going to get any cooperation from us about grounding yourself because we think that's mostly what the problem is. You want to see and hear and smell and taste and touch it all. And you are more energy than you're a being, not a doer or a doing. We know it's a word that's really common, and if it means be present in the moment, we're all for that. And what we are talking about all day every day is being fully present in the moment, calibrating to the big consciousness and the big awareness of who you are. That's really what you're wanting to do. But daydreaming is more like that than studying the nitty-gritty of what is. Anytime anyone offers a word, we know that it is possible that word means many different things to many different people, but just in a general sense of things, you have no problem being grounded, and we'd like you to all get over it. We'd like you to be more fully imbued with the fullness of who you are. And that doesn't mean when you're fully connected to who you are that you won't be aware of things of a physical nature. It just means you're getting your priorities straight and you're getting out ahead of it and you're hooking up with all that you are before you observe. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Under what condition would someone guide you to be more grounded?
Such as with my practices, like to be more intuitive, or to be more, I guess, to hear your inner voice a lot more.
So they're not talking about grounding you to the physical. They're talking about calibrating you to the non-physical.
I guess
that's what you just said, and that's right. If it's calibrating you to the non-physical, that's a whole other thing. So odd that they would call it grounded. You'd think they'd call it airlifted.
Okay. So I guess it's the difference in definition? Or?
It is that we want you to understand that you are more than this physical body. So if grounded means physical body, then we're not for it. If grounded means who you really are, what your true roots are, coming forth from source, and you're wanting to reacquaint yourself with the roots of the whole of who you are, that's a different thing. And that may very well be what teachers of this are getting at. But the word doesn't make it sound like that, and we just wanted to be clear before we seemed like we agreed with you in any way.
Okay. Okay. It means being calibrated to your vibrational essence while being in your body.
Good. That's a good thing to do. That's what we teach too.
Okay. So when I'm like fantasizing about, what I want in the future, Oh,
but you see, you got to understand. Let's get this grounding thing really clear. We want you to ground to your vortex. Everything else is old news.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like I'm grounding through my vortex.
The real stuff, to the love of you, to the whole of you, to the clarity and wisdom of you, to the becoming of you, to the whole of you, to the all of you.
I like that.
Do you see how this short conversation, we just recalibrated a big misunderstanding?
Okay.
You weren't misunderstanding, but most people who are using the word grounded are misunderstanding.
Okay, thank you.
Find a new word for it. No one will follow it, but just for us. Because we're not trying to make a movement out of this or anything. I'm calibrating. I'm calibrating to my true power and strength and love. There are a number of things that happen here in this exchange. These are the things that we like most about it. You be real. In other words, you're not pretending that you feel one thing when you are feeling another. And that matters in calibration. If you can't feel where you are, you won't feel the improvement. And so sometimes people, they want to make an impression, or they're wanting to sell a product. But when we have a conversation with you, you are wanting to understand why this feels like this and what to do about it. And in part, Esther has attracted you through her appreciation of Jerry's questions, because he was like that too. He was real in his questions. He was always living life and looking at what was happening. This is what Einstein did too. Einstein looked at the laws as they had been so far proven to be, and then got out into the world where he lived some real life, and then noticed something that made him ask a question. So when he would ask that question, then he would apply that question against all the known answers. And if it fit with all the known answers, then this is just another piece of evidence that supports this basic theory that we have. He was a theorist more than he was a physicist. In other words, he was an observer of life and a wanter to understand how it all fits together. You were born with that same kind of intensity, you see. You want to understand how this works. And so when something that you think you've got suddenly shows up in a way and it doesn't fit, you want to know why it doesn't fit and what will make it fit. And you know, even with Einstein, often with Einstein, it didn't fit. The worldview had to give way to the new theory, because the old ideas were not big enough to accommodate the next question. It's always going to be that way, you see. So you came for the deliciousness of that. You don't ever plan on getting it calibrated to perfection. You are a calibrator. You are a molder. You've got your hands in the clay. You like to define a new question. And the bigger and badder the question is, or the problem is, then the more delicious it is as you calibrate yourself into alignment with the solution. And what this conversation is bringing forth for everyone to feel in a really real way is that all this stuff that you think that you don't want, that you are calibrating to, is creating the vortex for future generations and for you yourself. In other words, this is exactly what you knew would happen, because you are an eternal being, and you know that you never get it done, and that you can't get it wrong, and that you never get it done, and that you can't get it wrong. So we want you to become at one with and savoring and enjoying your ability to calibrate. We want you to feel the deliciousness of calibrating to the desire, and in doing so away from the absence of it, to calibrate to the solution, and in doing so away from the problem of it, to calibrate to the answers, because the problem and the question, that's old news. The new news is over here. You want to calibrate this way. And so we've explained that to you by saying, to all of you over time, by saying things to you like, follow your bliss. That's the way you know. But that's not meaty enough for most people, because most people have been so manipulated by those around them who need them to perform in certain ways in order for them to feel good. And it does feel good when you please other people. And so you have calibrated yourself to what others need and want from you, others who are broken, others who want sacrifice from you. Your inner being never wants sacrifice from you. There's nothing for you to give up in order to receive. You are worthy, you see.